Hello and welcome to the Becoming Home podcast. I'm Joe.
I'm Charlene, and our goal is to create safe space for growth and healing using healthy conversations that bridge generational gaps. In this episode, we talked about fear and the root of fear, where fear comes from, the process of letting go of fear, and we got into some really cool stuff about how fear can settle in places in our body that we're not even consciously aware of. Fear from past generations, fear from things we may have experienced when we're little. And yeah, Joe, talk about what you got into with that.
It was really great. We talked about a lot of tools to kind of help dig out those blockages that we experience. And I even got to share a couple really personal experiences myself of how I was able to dig out some blockages and how I'm actually currently working through fear as a new Mary Kay consultant. But overall, I was blown away by just how fun it was to talk about that and how useful and practical our conversation was.
Yeah, it was really good to bring up some tips and tricks and actual things that you might, that we've gotten from therapy. So for people who can't afford therapy, just listen to our podcast where we're dishing on all the on all of our therapy toolbox things. And it was great that toward the end of the podcast, it really transitioned into what we're going to be talking about next month, which is love. So we're really excited to get into that next month. But for now, enjoy this episode on fear. Hope you get some great stuff out of it. All right, defining fear. We're talking about fear in this last episode of January, dealing with new things and approaching new things, whether it be a new business venture, new job, new relationship, new layer of trauma that you're unpacking in your own life, anything new, and kind of defining the fear. Maybe we will define it a little differently, but really just trying to dig into the idea of fear and where it comes from. And I wanted to read this quote from Michael Singer's book, The Untethered Soul, The Journey Beyond Yourself. It's page 73 in my version. It says, "Fear is the cause of every problem. It's the root of all prejudices and the negative emotions of anger, jealousy, and possessiveness. If you had no fear, you could be perfectly happy living in this world. Nothing would bother you. You'd be willing to face everything and everyone because you wouldn't have fear inside of you that could cause you disturbance." And I loved that he talked about fear being the cause of every problem, fear kind of being a root of things. Because when I think about all the things that I am nervous about, or even when I'm angry about something, if I sit down and I ask myself, okay, why are you angry? Because, first of all, I know that anger is a Band-Aid emotion, and it's just it's a protective thing. I'm trying to protect myself from pain. So if I remove the anger and I go a level deeper, a layer deeper, I'll find fear, or I'll find sadness, or, something like that. Or even underneath sadness, there's a level of something related to fear, something fear-based that's I'm afraid of more loss, or I'm afraid of being hurt, or I'm afraid of, guess I need to get into something specific. And I know before we hit record, we were talking about some of the real life issues that we can maybe talk about, stories that we can tell in today's episode, and really just share some honest moments about fear that we might be dealing with right now, and get into some practicals. We really want to come away from today with some practical tools and tips to unpacking fear and eliminating fear. A big thing in this book that I really liked was he really hones strongly on the act of letting go. That, throughout our lifetime, we have experiences, and Dr. Joe Dispenza's work is really good on this too, about, the brain science and how the left and right brain is, supposed to be this machine. Well, I don't like the word machine, but this thing that processes our events and how we feel about those things. And when there's a disturbance or a blockage and the brain can't, for some reason, rectify that or process that experience, that's when something, like, there's an imprint made and something gets stuck, and our body holds on to it. So there's a lot of work too. It's called somatic work, that deals with where that moment of energy, because everything's made up of energy, emotions, thoughts, words, this microphone. I mean, everything in all existence is made of energy. So, when that energy gets stuck somewhere in the body, it's just not able to be processed. And sort of as we come into, Michael Singer calls it spiritual evolution, or like the spiritual life, the whole goal of the spiritual life is to uncover those things and go through the process of letting go. And in this moment, he's saying, like, fear is the root of all of these negative emotions and these negative memories or experiences. And if we had no fear, we wouldn't be afraid of people, or, like, we wouldn't hold back with people. We wouldn't hold back from trying something new. We would just go through life, like you said in an episode or two ago, like, you're just like, woohoo, here we go, and it'll work out itself later, like, if we have no fear, we can just go through life like that, like naked little toddlers running around after the bath, or just free, we can experience that moment and that feeling of freedom and not worry about all the things. And so you were describing how right now you're really in the throes of this.
Yeah.
Talk to me more about that. Let's dig into that and see if we can unpack some of that and maybe let some stuff go today, right here.
Yeah, that would be great. I wish I could come across, and this is something I think it's a blockage, more or less, within myself, where I wish I could come across and be like, oh yeah, I was experiencing fear literally a week ago, but here's what I did and I'm all better now. Like, I wish I could come across with like this quick fix plan, or here's 5 steps to beating fear. Like, I wish I could come across with this like great plan, but I think obviously I can't. But I think that's what makes this podcast different, is we don't have a quick fix, and we don't have, here's your 5 steps to conquering fear forever. Like,
just send me $99.95.
Exactly. Like, this is, it's truly
for
like
access to my digital product.
Oh yeah.
Sorry. Can you tell I've been on this road for a minute? Like, I just need a friend who will talk to me through my fears.
Exactly. And that's who we've become, because that's who we've needed. Yeah. And I love that. So as the friend who's going through it, here's what I'm going through. I started Mary Kay this month, of all months, talking about new stuff. I thought it was a scam. Met up with this lady. Turns out it wasn't a scam. She's this awesome Mary Kay lady. She's got the pink Cadillac. She's got the big home, all the things. And so I was like, this is legit. And she goes to my church. Like, she loves Jesus. She loves people. And I've been looking for something that I can do for my home. This is great. And I thought, you know what? I bet if I start becoming a independent beauty consultant and I do this podcast, I bet in 2 years I can work solely from home, being people's friend, give them skincare, give them some life advice on different things. And like, through these couple of avenues, I can really serve people. And I felt crazy about it, but I was like, I'm just going to jump. So I did. And I jumped with a good chunk on my bank account. And that was really, really scary. And I think just because it's been 2 or 3 weeks since that jump, and I don't have thousands of dollars pouring into my bank account yet.
Right.
because we are building from the ground up, because that is how you build a business. And I've never done this before. I think that fear from the beginning is just starting to seep back in through the cracks of like, what if I fail?
Mm-hmm.
What if I totally screw this over and I just suck?
Mm-hmm.
What if I can't sell a single vial of makeup? What if nobody thinks I'm worth listening to? What if nobody thinks my makeup is worth their money, or my time is worth their money, or, you know, question after question after question. And I think it's been affecting my sleep. Like, I'm waking up at weird times, and I just feel the tension in my body when I wake up, and I'm like, oh my Lord, what do I do? Like, ooh, it doesn't feel good. And I think I need to be better about practicing what to do when I'm afraid. But I do have tools in my tool belt, and I wanted to share some of those because we've all sat in that seat of, oh my gosh, what do I do? This is terrifying to me.
Yeah, we get paralyzed sometimes.
Oh my gosh, I'm sitting there right now where it's like, okay, don't stop, keep going, be confident. And even if you don't feel confident, do what confident you would do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, keep walking forward. Take one step, one little baby step. That's not a step backwards. It's a step forward. That's still progress.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned do what confident you would do. Like, the word pretend came into mind. And I have, like, some trauma around that because in my religious background, there was this big saying, fake it till you make it.
I hate that.
And I freaking hate that.
Yes.
So it's been really difficult for me as I've really gotten into manifesting and vibration and sort of those kinds of laws of the universe and energy, understanding energy and things like that. I'm starting to see a deeper wisdom underneath fake it till you make it, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. But I think there's a way to do it well, and there's a way to do it unwell. And so I'm trying to kind of assimilate the idea of pretending to be confident, but like
you still accept
knowing
that
I'm
space.
not.
Yeah.
In the moment, like, I don't feel confident. Like, okay, I'm not feeling confident, or I'm feeling afraid, but if I were confident, what would it look like? Mm-hmm. What would it feel like? Absolutely. What would I, and like trying to find moments or some small evidence of evidences in my past where maybe I did do something confident. Do I have anything like that I can draw on and really like settle into the memory of that and feel what I felt during that and like try to tap into that and bring that forward? So maybe faking it till you make it is not really the thing. Maybe it's more like drop into the idea of confidence, because that also is a vibration. Mm-hmm. And wash that over this new thing that I don't feel confident about yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's exactly where I want to land. I can't say I've landed there yet.
Sure.
But I want to land in this confident space of what would confident me believe? Confident me would believe I'm a great saleswoman. Mm-hmm. I'm great at my job. Mm-hmm. Both of them, because now I have 2.
Or 3.
Yeah, 3.
Depending on how you look at it.
Exactly. And I'm great at all of my jobs. Mm. I am so capable. Mm. I am a great learner, right? Graduated at 16 with a 4.0 GPA. I think I can learn about makeup. Mm-hmm. I am so great. I love makeup. I love skincare. So in addition to those things, loving something means you're better at it. I love chicken, so I'm really good at working at Chick-fil-A because it tastes good, right? Like, that's what happens in life. You love something and you chase it, you're good at it. I love talking. Good at podcasting. So, who knew? You know, so like that's already like, oh, my confidence is now boosted because I've spoken those things over myself.
Yeah.
And let's say you're stuck in this moment of, man, I'm just terrified. I have no idea what confident me would do. That's fine. I have that all the time. And I bring in a lot of things. There's a lot of tools that I've gotten in therapy and just over time. One of those things is butterfly tapping. And you know how I talked about how like the right and left side of your brain, they can't process something because it gets blocked. It's called grounding, butterfly tapping. There's a whole bunch of things you can do, but it's where you take, you know, my right and left side of the body and you cross them and you tap on the other side. This is butterfly tapping. And you just do this and you can bring in, as you continue doing this, okay, what is a core truth that I struggle to know? It's that I'm enough. That's like my life's lie that I have to fight, is that I'm not enough. So, okay, I'm enough. I'm good. I am beautiful. I'm divine. And eventually you'll get into those truths that you need to hear. Like, I'm a good saleswoman. I can learn. I love what I do, so I can be good at it. Like, and you can even do it with your legs, you know, where you like, you know, lift a leg and tap the knee, you know, whatever. But it's just crossing those parts of your body. And it helps your whole body and your brain kind of start to process this idea that you're trying to get across, that you are enough, that you're worth it, that, you know, whatever the thing is that you're trying to fight. And those are just kind of some really physical tools that really help your brain to learn what is true and what we choose to believe through those lies. I mean, there's things like yoga or meditation playlists. And I mean, I pray about it a lot too.
Yeah.
But those are some of the biggest tools that I use. Lots of breathing. I still use a breathing technique from my first therapist from like, 7 years ago, where you inhale for 4, hold for 4, and exhale for 4. And I can remember that because 4 is my favorite number. So you do all those things. And then at the end, you're like, okay, I feel a lot better now. And yeah. You mix all those things together.
Yeah, there's so many great tools out there. I love that you brought up box breathing and butterfly tapping for the benefit of folks who couldn't really see or not watching the visual version that we're putting up on YouTube. It would be right hand to left shoulder, left hand to right shoulder.
Thank you for clarifying.
And just alternately tapping and speaking the truth. That is really the opposite of the lie. So that's for the benefit of
I forget that everybody can't
watching.
see.
I know, because we're doing the video version as well. So yeah, those are great tools. And I love something that I've experienced in box breathing. Because there's 2 versions of box breathing. One is, and I do a count of 5, but so it's in for 5, hold for 5, out for 5. That's one version. Another version is in for 5, hold for 5, out for 5, hold for 5. So there's 3 parts versus 4 parts.
Okay.
So, and I have spoken to some people who can do the 3-part version. So they breathe in, hold, breathe out. Breathe in, hold, breathe out. Breathe in, hold, breathe out. So some people are like, I can't do it the other way, to breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold.
Really?
Breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold. What happens, interestingly for me, is at the bottom hold, where you breathe out and hold, during that hold period, intense anxiety comes up for me.
Wow.
And I feel like I'm drowning sometimes. And like this massive amount of fear comes up. And it's a really great exercise to do when you're dealing with something where you're really afraid of something, is to try that bottom hold, because it'll bring out more fear. And if we're, entering into this practice of letting go, where there's fear trapped in our body that may be old and maybe not even relevant anymore, but it's old. It's an inner child. It's a wound. It's a wounded place that, maybe we've healed from on some levels, but the energy of fear might be stuck somewhere in the body. Maybe you have, unexplained pain in your right knee. That was me. I had right knee pain. I thought, oh, it's just a process of getting old, or like arthritis, or, something. And when I was working with a gal one time, she was like, we were doing energy work. She's, do you have trouble with your right knee? I was like, yeah.
That's
She's like,
creepy.
okay. we're going to deal with something here. So we kind of dealt with it, and I no longer have that pain in my right knee.
That's insane.
So I'm fully convinced that the body can hang on to old energies from old experiences, and it just is an energy that's stuck there. And so this process of working through these tools to let go of old stuff is not necessarily getting rid of or letting go of conscious right now, the Mary Kay thing, right? Or the fill in the blank thing. There may be things that are so deep down in there that maybe even happened as a child before your memories even stay with you, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So like you were 1 year old or 6 months old, or you know what I mean? Like just something you may have experienced that you are never going to be consciously aware of. But your body is aware of it, and your body hangs on to those moments. Your body hangs on to that energy that was surrounding that moment. So this process of letting go, this box breath, the hold at the bottom, is a really interesting space, and I would really encourage people to try that and see what comes up for them, and just maybe even try holding for less than the other times. Maybe try holding for 3, maybe, and then just try to kind of push yourself each time and see what comes up emotionally. And try to work to getting to the place where you can, with ease and calm, remain in that bottom hold. I feel like my practice in doing that has gotten me to a place of confidence. I feel like the fact that I know I can do that bottom hold has given me some kind of supernatural confidence that I can do hard things.
Absolutely.
Because for me, what was coming up in that bottom hold was intense anxiety, intense fear, like death level, like I am going to die. One of my biggest fears is drowning.
Oh my gosh, me too.
I just do not want to die by drowning. Please, Lord, do not let me die by drowning. And maybe that's because I grew up by the ocean and I actually had a near drowning experience. Maybe that stems from that. I don't know. But going without air, not taking in air, it brings that intense feeling of like, I'm going to die. And sometimes these new things that we're trying in life bring up feelings of, oh my God, I'm going to die. Or if I have to go do this public speaking thing, maybe I have to give a presentation at work. Like we can get this anxiety in our stomach that literally feels like I'm going to die. We start sweating, we start, all these physical things start coming out. But just doing that box breath, practicing that bottom hold, especially if you can do that for 5 minutes every morning, and then again before bed at night, and just practice, like don't be hard on yourself when you can't do it, because there are times even now that I can't. I feel like I kind of get stuck in something and I can't do the bottom hold. And so I recognize that that's where I'm at for whatever reason. And, I move on and like, okay, well, maybe next time.
Yeah.
We'll try again tonight. See how it goes,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's cool. There's something I'm feeling really led to talk about, which is, it feels really off topic, but you talked about how memories come up, or feelings come up from a time when you maybe haven't held memory before. And it really brought something up for me. So I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about this right now or not, but I'm feeling it. But I was in therapy and I'm having, I was in the hospital at 3 days old, and I was sent back to the hospital after I was born because I stopped responding. My dad held me under cold water and I did not cry as a 3-day-old infant. And for years and years and years, we've never known why I was sent back to the hospital. And I was doing work in therapy, doing, all the work that we've talked about, the somatic therapy, all the things. And I feel like there could be a lot of doubt in this. Well, how do you know? You don't remember that. But in my body, basically, I discovered I wanted to die at 3 days old. And I was just shocked because I was like, how did I want to die? I was 3 days old. I don't even, you're not coherent. Right. And I'm choosing to believe that it's because of what. So basically, here's some science for you. Your grandma has eggs, right? And that one of those eggs became my mom, and my mom had eggs while she was inside my mom or my grandma.
Right.
So my grandma carried me
Mm-hmm.
as well as my mom,
Mm-hmm.
and my mom carried me. And so in our family, we have generational trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe I was carried by two women that hold intense trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like by the time I was born, I was just like so done with life already. But I kept asking myself, why didn't I let go of life? Why did I not allow myself to die? Because I remember experiencing feelings of anger at the doctors. Like, why didn't they just let me die? Why didn't they just let me go? And as I was processing through that, it just hit me. My older sister was there, and she was 5 years old at the time when I was born, and there's story after story of her coming up to my mom's pregnant belly and being like, "Good night, Joellen, I love you. Come out soon so we can play." And I believe that I heard her. And I believe that I couldn't die because I knew that she needed me. And gosh, yes, she needed me, and I needed her, and we raised each other. But like, I don't even know why I was supposed to share that, but
I'm glad you did.
I just felt all of that. And it's just crazy what you can discover. And I think I was really scared to believe that at first because, you were 3 days old. You don't remember anything. But your body knows. Your body is wise, and your body knows what it's holding, and it'll let you know.
Yeah, it will if you're open to hearing it.
Yeah.
And actually, what you're describing is the study of epigenetics.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah. So epigenetics, they've done studies of Holocaust descendants.
Wow.
And the trauma generations later is still there. And I don't have I'm not a scientist. I don't have all the smarts about it, but thank God there are people who are scientists, and they're studying these things. And, it's why, like, I think in the Bible, sometimes we read, generation upon generation will be healed.
Wow.
Generation upon generation will be cursed. I feel like this is really the wisdom of God there in Scripture before we understood it to be energetically rooted, and how those energetic signatures get written in your DNA, and that's why they're passed on through generations. So yeah, it's a really interesting to look into, to go, do a search on and read a few articles on things that, they've discovered.
Wow.
But we have machines now that you can, like the thermometers that you don't have to put in an orifice. You can just point at the baby's forehead and it'll tell you the temperature. Yeah. We have machines like that can read energy of things.
Whoa.
You can point it at inanimate objects, these microphones, these fake flowers, or people. Because we used to think in science that the only things that carried energy were living things. Well, we know differently now that everything in all creation is just made of energy, because we've gotten down so far into microscopic, we have such smart tools now that can get way further microscopically than we could before. So now they have these machines that they could just read the energy signature on anything they pointed at. So energy is an amazing thing to dig into and discover. And the thing that excites me, one of the things that excites me is that there are tools, right, that we have. We can go through these tools like we talked about today and kind of process some of those things. But at the end of the day, like what we do is, when we get down to that moment, or we get down to that memory, or we get down to a space, even if we don't have a conscious memory, but we get to a space where we feel something, the healing that we can offer that space is rooted in love.
Yeah.
If we bring love down into that space, that brings with it compassion, it brings with it empathy, it brings with it healing, just all kinds of things. Again, the wisdom of of the Bible, love casts out, perfect love casts out all fear.
Yeah.
So, we can use these tools and bring love with us down into those places. I'm excited that that's a really great moment and a great segue to go into February, because we've already predetermined that we're talking about love in February. And I love what happened. Was it last week?
Yeah.
So just a little teaser. Last week, you and I were sitting down and just recording intros and outros and just kind of, doing some touch-up things and hanging out. And you were like, oh, we're going away on our, anniversary trip, and we don't have anything planned, and the weather was going to be awful here. And we weren't sure what the roads were going to be like, all that stuff. So I was like, stay in and have lots of sex. Why not? Why do anything else?
Yes. Yep.
And so we were like giggling and but then this like thought came out, and I was like, no, really. Here's why you should really do that. And we started talking, and we're like, wait, we should record this. You were totally game. Like, yes. And so we had this great 20-minute, unrehearsed, like unthought of, unplanned,
no notes taken,
great moment that we caught recorded, which is going to be a great episode in February, I think, because we got into trust and foundations of relationships. And, we started out kind of giggly about sex and why it's a good idea to do a certain thing at a certain place and time and all the things. Like, we got into that, but it moved into so much deeper stuff at a heart level and foundational. And I'm really excited to release that episode next month.
It'll be a really good month, I think.
Yeah. This has been a great month talking about new things and digging into limiting beliefs and all the things. And I've had so much fun. So thank you.
Thank you.
For a great month 1.
Oh, wow. I can't believe it. It was great.
On to month 2. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Becoming Home podcast, where we're helping bridge generational gaps through healthy, healing conversations. Hey, Joe, where can folks go to connect with you?
Go ahead and head over to my Instagram page. You can find me at Committing to Change. That would be at committing_2_change. And you can DM me, we can have a conversation, or you can just follow along on my journey. How about you, Mom?
Yeah, if people want to connect with me, you can get to me through my website, fullyabundantlife.com. Looking forward to seeing you all there. Let me know how we can serve you. If you have any questions about anything in any of our episodes, we're happy to reach out to you and spend some time talking and chatting. So head on over to fullyabundantlife.com for me, or Instagram for Joe. Thanks so much for being here. We can't wait to see you next time. Bye.